Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Ride Razz. As usual, this is a Friday feast, ZEAL Friday Japan Race. Doing this every week now, it would seem, because it's an absolute smash fest. Okay, yes, granted, there's probably one or two riders who aren't really riding to the ethos of Zwifting and maybe playing with their numbers or sticky watting or whatever you want to do. But for the rest of us, all 70 plus riders, this is an incredibly fast, high intensity race with no breaks. And as usual for me, I've turned up to it with little or no warm up. So I've probably got about 5 minutes warm up in here. So yeah, this is 2 laps of rolling Highlands. It's a decent route with the Breakaway Brae in it, so that's twice at the Breakaway Brae, and what is quite a long lead-in, the kind of lead-in lap as well. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be just pretty flat, fairly rolling start downhill. So hopefully I can get a little bit of a warm-up in there. But yeah, I've got to be real careful because last week I rocked up to this race and got dropped in the first 5 minutes because the pace was too high, that I wasn't keeping up with the front pack, which is where you can stay safe if you keep your power up. So yeah, off we go. And as you can see, I'm in this with 2 fellow TNP, Team Not Poggy, Zwift team members, Lee Main and Adam, who are both absolute animals. So this is, if they're racing, this is going to be fast. And as you can see, straight off the bat, 5 watts. 5 watts a kilo. So yeah, it should be quick. 14k for this lead in and the lap, and about 23k in total. So yeah, let's see how we get on. As you can see by some of the comments coming through on the companion app messages, there's a guy who turns up every week. There he is off the front, and wins this race using a handcycle. Now, everybody calls him a cheat or calls him out, but actually, if you look at his Zwift racing page, he's a South Korean professional cyclist. He's got some crazy numbers. And actually, in fact, talking to some of my TMP teammates, the handcycle's a little bit of a cheeky bike to be using for this because it uses people's draft, but you can't get any draft off it. So if you go off the front with it and put down some watts, you can't draft that bike, which practically, makes sense with something like this because with most of this racing in these ZEAL races, it's never really a breakaway because the group is doing 5.5, 6 watts. So you have to put in a massive brake, and loads of power, and there's so many riders in the in the group that the gap just gets eaten up every time. So I guess tactically the hand bike makes sense on this one. So as you can see, we're still on part of the lead in here, and we're coming up to the first little kind of kicker, which will give us another power up at the top. So as the start, and already this is places where people are going to be attacking, and I've got to be aware. I've got to stay on the front here. Thankfully, that wasn't as difficult as I thought it might be. 5.5, 6 watts. So I've survived that one, and I'm still in the top part of the group. So this is the point where I was very content with the group, and then suddenly the whole group disappeared and cut out, and I panicked a little bit. Thankfully it was only for a few seconds and I didn't get dropped on that little section, and I didn't have to use my power up, so I was a bit lucky there. As you can see, things are breaking up a little bit here. The pace has picked up. There's splits into two decent groups here, and I'm conscious I don't want to either get dropped from this group or be dropped completely from the front group. So I've used my draft here to help me up this little kicker, and hopefully then after we come over the top, I've got a little bit descending where I can catch up with the two groups ahead. But as you can see, it's a fairly long kind of 2-3% incline, but these are all draftable, so if I can just keep the power down, I'll be able to maintain that one. And there we go, over the top, kept it with the front group within the top 20 here now, so which is great. So we'll come down the descent and then we'll hit the Breakaway Brae kicker. And here we go. So there's a strong group here, but you still have to hit this pretty hard just because there's no draft because of the steepness. So always aim for, I always aim for hitting it hard on the last set of flags just before you go through the tunnel, just so that you've got enough power to keep going over the top, because the climb carries on a bit longer than you expect. So you just need to keep going past around the corner and over the top. Right then, so we're coming to the end of the first lap. This is the approach to the end of the lap, so this will be the finish as well. So I'm using this as a little bit of a recon, a recce. So it's 0.7 of a kilometre of undulating climb. So it's a climb at the end with a little steep section, very short steep section, but enough to break up the group, which goes to 5-6%. So if I've still got the legs left, this is the main thing, because I'm burning some decent watts here. If I've still got the legs left, I'll go hard on this. And if I pick up a feather on any of the power-ups, I'm just going to hold on to that and not waste it. I'll just save it for this end here. So yeah, let's see how this last lap goes and if I can survive. as you can see here, we're about a third of the way through the second lap, and it's stretching out a little bit on these undulating climbing bits. It's nothing massive with the elevation or the gradient, but I'm still churning out 5.5 watts here just to stay with the group, which is absolute madness. 380 to 390 watts just to stay off the back. Not even fighting off the front, just staying off the back. So as you can see with my power profile at the bottom, I'm trying to get some recovery in it best I can, but there's really not any quiet periods of any significant length. So now we're coming into the last kind of aggressive bits of the race. Climb here, over the top, down the hill, up the Breakaway Brae, and then fast to the finish with the climb at the finish line, 700-meter long climb. So I really, in my head, I just want to stick with this front end, make sure that I don't get dropped. This is my priority. So there we go. That's one of the climbs done before the end, and I'm still surviving, still on the front with the group. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Face doesn't show it, but yeah, fairly happy. And I've got my feather still, so I didn't have to commit to using that. So I'm still going to hold on to that. Now we're going to cruise down the hill and hit the Breakaway Brae now. What you might have noticed in the last 15 minutes of the racing is the number of people just moaning and whinging about how difficult it is, and that people might be pushing the boundaries of the racing or whatever, but it's really frustrating with the negativity. So that's why I put the post asking people to stop moaning and just focus on your ride. Don't worry about anybody else. Enjoy the racing, enjoy Zwift is meant to be a fun thing. Some people take it far too seriously. It really is just a training platform. Nobody here in reality is going to be taking this to a professional level, except maybe the one who's winning. So yeah, I mean, just enjoy the riding. I don't see the problem. Right then, one more time at the Breakaway Brae. Now the trick is, in my head, is not to burn myself out too much. So not huge watts, not going past into double figures, but just enough to hold on to the front here. Keep the power down up and over the end. So as you can see, I'm still going for it so that I don't get dropped, because the climb still is still going on here, and you still got to get underneath the archway here, and then it levels off, and then you start dropping down. So it's important to keep going on that climb. So yeah, 1.5 kilometers left, little downhill, a little bit flat, and then the 700-meter long little tacky climb. We got 1k left. Still on the front group, really happy with that. Still with Lee, still with Adam, so also happy with that. But as you can see, the pace is pretty high, 51 kilometers an hour here, and we're coming up to the last bit of the climb. So I really wanted to stick with this group, but as you can see, I started struggling a little bit, and I couldn't get the power down. I really just need to just try and stay in the draft here, but everyone's dropping huge watts. Some of these people, 17 watts. The person just went past me, and I should have gone harder, I think, with the watts, but I wanted to be a bit more consistent with my power and try and chase people down up this climb. But in reality, I should have probably gone a bit harder maybe, but I'm happy with the results. I was able to close it down and come 32nd out of 80 odd riders. I'm really pleased with that. As I said, it's a really difficult race, this ZEAL race, so I'm happy I could stick to the front in the front group and enjoyed that. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please like, comment and subscribe. Cheers. Thanks very much. Bye bye.